morning. This is the morning news on WSBA, the Monday morning edition. I'm Gary Sutton.
I'm Joel Sears.
WSBA news time is 6:10.
Happy days are here again.
Why is that?
January 6th, the day after Online Dating Day.
You missed that.
I missed it.
Yeah, me too. I got a date every night. I'm very happy about that.
And I know Deb, and she's wonderful.
There you go.
There you go.
So anyway, we have a date this morning to be with John LeBouttlier here at 6:10 for Information Infinitely. How's that sound? John, of course, is the tri-host of Political Insiders on Fox News every 7:30 every Sunday night. I'll spit that out. John, good morning to you.
Good morning, Gary. Good morning, Joel. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing very well, and Happy New Year to you.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you, too, and all your listeners. And let's hope, for America's sake, that 2014 is a good year. That's what we got to hope for.
Funny you should mention that. We wanted you to look into your crystal ball this morning, as only you can. The LeBouttlierian way of looking at it. How's that? And tell us some of the biggest things you're looking at. Obviously, it's an election year coming up, and we're going to have a lot of people who are going to be worried about their seats in both the Senate and the House, but more in the Senate really is where it's going to be a focus. What are you seeing here coming up in the new year? What are the big stories?
Well, obviously, I mean, I think of politics and the political implications,
right,
and that's why you have me on. So let's, rather than me give Super Bowl predictions and nonsense
None of that garbage. No, we're staying right in the political arena, yeah.
All right, so here's a couple things. First of all, I think Obamacare is going to continue to be the underlying big issue for average people as it changes their health care. Now, whether, like the Obama people think it's going to change it for the better, or so far it's changed it for the worse for a lot of people, that I can't be sure of. But I think it's going to be a huge issue. I suspect it's going to be the former. It's going to change it for the latter. It's going to be worse. More people are going to lose coverage, have worse coverage, have higher deductibles, higher costs, all that stuff. And I think that is going to lead to the Republicans probably winning back control of the Senate in November. It feels like it's going to be a pro-Republican year. Yeah. That's one thing. Then the other issue, though, that's coming big is income inequality, or, the gap between the rich and the poor, that whole thing. That is a big issue.
Right.
The left is pushing it, therefore the media will push it, and I think it is an issue. I think the only thing Republicans need to get onto is to acknowledge it's a big issue, and our solution is better than the Robin Hood liberal tax the rich, give to the poor.
Right.
That doesn't work, by the way. We have to get back to pro-growth incentives, tax and things, stuff that can make our economy grow and create private sector jobs. That's the only way to get out of this problem, is to have our economy do well. A rising tide lifts all boats.
John,
I don't hear any Republicans talking about it. They better get back on it. They better come up with ideas to generate economic growth. That's the key to that issue.
John, in addition to the ideas, I think one of the things that should be taken from the Obama playbook is to show examples. He loves to put his arms around people and point to successes. I think the Republicans need to do the same thing. Here are real people that are really benefiting from the programs that the Republicans talk about.
Okay, great. Let's see them. And let's say if this can work for X, Y, and Z, it can work for a lot more people. Let's push it. But I don't see that so far.
Well, I think, John, you make a really great point. And the fact is, Washington is looked at now by, I think, the average guy on the street or lady on the street as a bad place. Doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. You might shade a little bit one way or the other. But because they really don't differentiate from each other and don't come out and say in regular Main Street-ese, here's what is better about my ideas than the other guy's ideas. They seem like they're just different shades of gray. Am I wrong on that?
No. You're right, and this has been the big thing that the political insiders have been pushing for months, that, on a show like this in the past, what we would talk about is the difference between Republicans and Democrats, that was the big gap on something. Republicans believe this, Democrats believe that. The real gap now is not that. The gap is the people of America versus the entire government.
John, you were talking about, it used to be Republican and Democrat, but it's far different now with the regular people of America trying to figure out the society of Washington, so to speak, or the political kind of society in Washington and how it operates, and maybe trying to understand the rules but not being able to get their minds around it.
Yeah, well, I think we're all trying to get our minds around it.
Yeah, and you were even there.
Excuse me?
I said you were even there. You understand a little bit about how the sausage is made.
Yeah, I understand a little bit, or quite a bit. I don't understand, though, why some things are happening. Some things make no sense to me. I don't understand the Speaker of the House and his lack of aggression as leader of the House against the administration on these scandals. It makes no sense to me that we're not aggressively investigating the IRS, the NSA scandal, obviously Benghazi. Why? I mean, why aren't... If everything were reversed, Democrats would be tearing a Republican administration apart. And by the way, that's what you're supposed to do.
But here's the problem that you have right now, I think, for Boehner. I don't think it's a problem. I think you're absolutely right on what they should be doing. But I think you should do it in such a way as you're saying we're doing it for the right reasons. We're not doing it just to gain a political advantage. Understood that happens. But the point is, the Republicans, when the Democrats say you're just doing it for political advantage, they go, yeah, I guess that's what we're doing. We better back off a little bit. And that's what a lot of people are upset about. I think what you're upset about.
Well, each one, these things are not just for politics. I mean, the federal government using the IRS to intimidate conservative groups,
right? That's
political.
Yep.
So if we try to find if it's illegal and who did it, why are we being accused of being political? We're overseeing, we being the House Republicans.
You know why? I think, John, because this side accepts it and the other side doesn't. You say to President Obama, okay, you're being political by making all these changes before, for example, on Obamacare, before next year's election, or making sure after the election they come down, and everybody says, oh, that could be political. And he says, no, it's not. Oh, okay. Republicans go, yeah, I guess it is political. You know, they take it. I don't understand why they can't make an argument, and they've not been able to do that for some time now.
It's crazy. Well, they need to get. We can't be so afraid of it. And but by the way, my bigger picture for 2014 is that because of this gap between the public and Washington, I think Washington means in the minds of the public both parties. They don't distinguish that Obama's worse than the Republicans. They put them all in together. They don't see a lot of difference between Republicans and Democrats. I think there's three-quarters of the country willing to blow both parties off and go with another entity, another candidate, as I always say, a better, saner version of Ross Perot. You know, anything that talks to me makes me think that we can get out of this mess.
John,
do we really think the Republicans are going to get us out of this mess more than Democrats? No, I don't think so.
I don't.
No, it's a tough call, and the Tea Party movement, I think, at least showed for a while that Americans are willing to rally behind an idea and push that idea forward until it gets shoved back down their throats by the media and the others who say, no, we're all for the status quo.
Well, and the other part of that, too, John, is the fact that they made a difference because the Democrats hate them. I mean, so they did make some kind of difference.
The Republicans
the Republicans hate them, too. That's right.
Yeah, they hate them. The problem with the Tea Party is they've got all the passion in the world to change things, and they've got the right target. Federal debt is killing the country. Dead on correct on that, but they have no ideas on how to fix anything. They don't know anything. They don't know how to fix anything. And so they're good up with the passion, but we got to match the passion with a plan and some brains on how to implement the plan.
Well, and to kind of paraphrase, they have the principles. They have the right principles. But again, going back to what we said earlier, they don't understand how the machinery operates to get those principles into action. Yeah. And you don't have enough people who are willing to go out and lose their job to fight for something like that in the long run.
I guess that's it.
I mean, I'm just wondering. I mean, I'm throwing that out as kind of a thought. Is that, I mean, you have some of the people out there like, Rand Paul and people like that who are
just a handful.
But are they the Ted Cruz's, or are they big enough yet to really kind of gain national attention and national power?
I think they're all amateurs when I see them. I have to tell you, Ted Cruz to me is a joke. I mean, the passion to stand up and filibuster the health care, great. But can't we see the big picture that it wasn't going to work? It wasn't going to stop Obamacare. It was going to hurt the Republicans across the board. Maybe he didn't care because it probably helped him. But that's the problem. It's got to be more than helping me.
Yeah, the national prominence thing.
It's got to help the public, and it didn't help the public at all.
John, great having you on as always this morning. We always appreciate the insights. And you're coming up today a little bit later on? Tell people where they can find you.
10:30 a.m. on live.foxnews.com. And that's a regular show on the Internet called Political Insiders for half an hour with Doug Schoen and Pat Caddell and myself.
And three guys that aren't afraid to bury them all, and that's kind of what we like.
That's our deal.
All right. Hey, John, always great having you aboard. We look forward to talking to you next week.
Okay, thank you, guys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, and have a great week. John LeBouttlier with us here on the Morning News on WSBA.